as always, and first off, glory to God. All right, this one's for everybody, okay? And I mean everybody, because I don't care how tough you think you are, okay? How calm you think you are, how disciplined you think you are, okay? We all do this. We feel something, and we act like that feeling is permission. And the feeling, it might be real, okay? It might even be justified. But the moment that you treat emotion as if it's a command, bro, you just handed the steering wheel to the worst driver in the car, okay? And I've done it. I still catch myself doing this. And, I'll feel that heat come up, that little flash. And if I'm not careful, my mouth, it starts moving like it's got a mind of its own, right? My tone changes, my face changes, my posture changes. And the crazy part is, I'll literally be halfway into it before I even realize that I'm doing it. So, what I want to talk about today is something that sounds simple, okay? But it's actually one of the highest forms of manhood. You don't choose every emotion that hits you, okay? But you do choose your outward expression, okay? You get to choose what actually comes out of you. You choose whether you escalate or whether you control yourself. And if you don't believe that, okay, I'm telling you right now, you're going to live your whole life being triggered by people. And then you're going to go around blaming them for the mess that you made. Come on, guys, that's not strength. That's a form of slavery. Okay, so let's slow it down a little bit here. I'm not saying that you can stop feeling anger, okay? I'm not saying that you can stop feeling fear. I'm not saying that you can stop feeling stress, okay? I am saying you can stop letting those feelings be your boss. Because your emotions are like weather, right? They're real. They show up. They move through. But you guys, they're not supposed to be king of the house. And a lot of men, let's just be honest here. Guys, a lot of men are ruled by their mood. If they're happy, everybody's safe, right? If they're frustrated, everybody's on edge. They're just sitting on eggshells. If they're tired, the whole house feels heavy. If they're stressed, come on, you can feel that in the air. And they don't even think of themselves as dangerous, right? Because they're not punching walls or screaming. They're just unpredictable. And unpredictability, it's straight poison, okay? Your wife, she doesn't need a perfect man, okay? She needs a stable one. Your kids, they don't need a superhero, okay? They just need a steady one. And your community, guys, it doesn't need your opinions, okay? No, it needs your self-control. Because, when a man can't rule himself, everybody around him starts managing him, okay? They'll start timing conversations. They'll start, filtering what truth they let come out. You guys, they're going to start hiding things, and they start avoiding certain subjects, and they start making their life smaller just so they don't set you off. And listen, okay, I'm not saying that to shame you. I'm saying that because if you're that guy, bro, I want you to wake up because you think you're leading, but you're actually just forcing everybody else to adapt to your instability. Guys, that is not leadership. That is just straight emotional tyranny. Even if you don't mean it, it still is. Now, I'm going to reel this in. I want anchor this biblically, and I'm just going to use one verse because this one verse, it says it cleaner than I think I can actually say it myself. And it's Proverbs 16:32. He who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit than he who captures a city. You guys say that again in your head with me, okay? Ruling your spirit is greater than capturing a city. That means that the real fight isn't out there, okay? It's in here. It's in here. It's in the moments when where you're hot, you're offended, you're stressed, you're tired, you're disrespected, and you decide what kind of man you're going to be. Because anybody can act controlled when life is easy, right? Guys, the test is when your pride is touched. The test is when, you feel disrespected. The test is when you're exhausted, okay? And then somebody comes along and just hits the wrong nerve. That right there, that's the moment where a boy reacts, but a man chooses. So let me give you the simple rule that's helped change the game for me, okay? Because, I can't always choose that first wave of emotion, but I can choose the second move, right? That's it. That's it right there. The first wave is that emotion just hitting you, heat in the chest, jaw tight, your shoulders tense up, you get tunnel vision, and you got words loading up on your tongue that are just vile. And that first wave, it comes so fast. But the second move, brother, that's you. That's your decision, okay? And that is right there where manhood lives. So what does that look like in real life, right? Guys, it's simple. It just looks like a pause, right? Not some dramatic, hey, I'm going to count to 10 thing where you're trying to look wise. No, I mean literally just a 2-second pause, okay? 2 seconds where you don't speak. 2 seconds where you just breathe. 2 seconds where you take the steering wheel back from the emotion, because what happens is if you speak while that surge is rising, you're going to say something you can't take back. You're going to push the button that you probably didn't need to push. And you're going to turn a small situation into a big one. And then, I've seen this, you're going to spend the rest of your day dealing with the fallout of your own mouth. Come on, I've been there. So what do? You pause. And then you actually choose. You got to choose your output. And that's the phrase that I want burned into your brain, okay? I choose my output. I choose my tone. I choose my volume. I choose whether I escalate or I choose whether I just walk away and come back. I choose whether I respond now or I respond later. And if you start, living like that, you stop being a prisoner to your mood. All right, so you guys, here's a part that a lot of us can miss. It's easy, right? Anger, it's usually just a mask, right? A lot of guys think anger is their real emotion, right? Like that's the truth for them. It's not always the truth. A lot of times it's just a cover, okay? Yes, fear can sit underneath anger, okay? The whole I'm losing control, I'm not safe, or I can't handle this, right? Exhaustion, it can sit right underneath the anger, right? It looks like I've carried too much for too long, or I haven't slept, right? Or I haven't had a break, man. Guys, pride can sit underneath anger. Pride's the next one. It's like you look at people and you go, how dare they? Or, who do they think they are? Right? But if you want to rule your spirit, you have to get honest about what's under your anger. Because if you only fight that top emotion, you're always going to keep losing, okay? Because it's like chopping branches, right? But you're never touching the root. All right, let me try. I think that what I'm about to say is going to help some of you guys. So let me try, okay? You can be right, and you can still be wrong in how you handle being right. You can be justified, yet still be destructive. You can actually have a damn good real reason and still create a mess that did not need to happen. So, you guys, ruling your spirit, it doesn't mean that you become soft and weak, okay? It means that you actually become strong and controlled. Controlled strength. That's what protects people. Now, I want to make this practical for your home because, you guys, that's where it matters the most. You know, if you want your wife to feel safe, right, and your kids to feel safe, and you want your home to feel peaceful, the first place to start is not with any of them, man. It's with you. Because when the man becomes stable, right, and just the man, you guys, the whole environment calms down. Kids act different around stable men. Wives, dude, they'll relax around you, okay? Your conversations can go so much smoother around stable men. I don't like talking to unstable men, but we have to. Because, you know, problems, they get solved so much faster around stable dudes. And it's not because life got easier. It's just because you stopped being a storm inside of your house. You actually became a shelter. And that's what a man is supposed to be, a shelter. And here's a little mental trick that I use, and it's super simple, okay? But guys, it works. When I feel that surge, I've literally trained myself to ask myself one question, okay? Whoa, what does a stable man do right now? Because I don't feel stable. It's not what do I feel like doing, okay? It's not what would prove that I'm right in this situation. No, it's simple. It's what does a stable man do? And guys, the answer is usually really damn boring. He lowers his voice. He slows down. Takes that pause. And then he asks himself a clean question. And then he sets a boundary without theatrics. You know, he leaves if he needs to leave. He comes back when he's controlled. That's it. That's it. And do you know what that does? You know what it does? It actually makes you dependable. It makes you trustworthy, and it makes you the guy that, you know, people can bring problems to without fear. And that is leadership. So now I want to talk a little bit about the community side of this, because it's also important, right? A community is only as stable as the men inside it. And if the men are unstable, well, the community, it drops and becomes chaos. If the men are controlled, well, the community, it just becomes safer. And you guys, I'm not saying, don't take it this way. I'm not saying that men are the only ones that matter. I'm saying men set a tone, whether they admit it or not. So if you want your marriage better, your kids better, your friendships better, your workplace better, you start here. Rule your spirit. Because, you know, Proverbs says that man is better than the mighty. Better than the man who captures a city. And that tells us right there that God values control over our conquest. And I'm going to be honest, that should humble a lot of us. It humbles me. And guys, we're trained as men to chase conquest. Money and wins and status, being right, being respected. And here's God just telling us and saying, hey, can you even control yourself? Because that's the test, man. All right, now I want to end with a simple plan for this week, okay? I just want you to pick one thing that triggers you. Just one, not 10, okay? Not your whole personality. Pick one trigger. Maybe it's disrespect, or maybe it's being rushed, or maybe it's your kids whining, maybe it's your wife just bringing something up when you're tired. Maybe it's money stress. Just pick one. Pick one trigger, okay? And decide ahead of time what your new rule is for that. Because in the moment, it's too late to invent a plan, okay? You plan while you're calm so that you can execute while you're hot. So your rule might be like something like, hey, when I feel the surge, I'm going to pause 2 seconds before I even speak. Or when I feel the surge, I lower my voice instead of raising it. When I feel the surge, I'm going to walk away for 1 minute and I'm going to come back controlled. Or when I feel the surge, I ask one question instead of making one accusation. Simple. But it will change your life if you actually do this. I promise you. All right. I want comments today, you guys. Come on. Because I want to see men moving, not just nodding and noodling around on the internet. So in the comments down below, you guys, come on. Lay it out. What's your biggest trigger? And what are you going to make as your new rule? Just write it down below. Straight. Type it out. And if this helps you, guys, hit like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. We've been doing this for decades now. We all know how to use YouTube, so subscribe. Because Hard Road Hour, you guys, it's for men who want to rule their spirit and become someone different, someone better, someone who actually walks the hard road. I'll see you on the next one.